I'm sure at one time or another in your life you found yourself captivated by the story of a murderer or a serial killer. Maybe you read a news article, and even if it is abhorrent, it's captivating. You have to admit that. Why the hell else do books like this exist? Why do TV shows like Mindhunter exist? Because we're fucking weird. Now, I've went through multiple points in my life, multiple stages where I found myself utterly fascinated by some of these terrible people out there. And this book right here, Crimes of the 20th Century, let me take this cover off for now. I remember reading this book for the first time when I was in high school. I was on a road trip through from Texas to Ohio. None of that really matters, but my point is, I read this entire book, utterly fascinated by it, by some of these people. You know, it starts all the way back in the late 1800s, and it goes decade by decade through the 1910s, 1920s, 1930s, and there's definitely people in here that we've read about. There's people in here that I didn't know about, but it's an utterly fascinating book. And while flipping through Netflix the other day, I kept seeing Mindhunter. I've heard a lot about it. Audrey loves this kind of stuff. The dark, the disturbing, the criminal psychology. Speaking of, there's Manson who will pop up in this show. And so I just finally decided to click on it. I mean, why the hell not, you know? I thought, okay, I need something that will entertain me, but not make me want to have to do a review about it. And here we are.
It's not easy butchering people. It's hard work.
So I want to go off script with this one. I did not write a script. I just want to talk about how fascinating this show is.
40 years ago, your FBI was founded hunting down John Dillinger. Now, we have extreme violence between strangers.
Not all of it.
This feels like a big deal.
Some of it gets boring with the personal relationships and all that.
A lot of people feel this way. If you say so.
But overall, I have found myself deeply enthralled with season 1 of Mindhunter and the 6 or so episodes of season 2 that I've watched so far. Even though the show took quite a slump in the middle of the first season, and I almost gave up on it.
Principal Wade.
The first thing that I really dug about this show was the relationship between Tench and Holden.
How old are you? 26, 27?
29.
That's interesting.
There is just some kind of uncanny chemistry between the tough, hardened, old school, big burly FBI agent and little old small newcomer Holden.
So you're saying you don't think this us interviewing these killers is crazy?
Just the opposite.
You know, he's all here. He's all intelligent. I'm not saying Bill's not intelligent. I'm just saying he likes to talk out loud. He likes to think out loud. He likes to share the ideas and the conclusions that he comes to. And you see many times in the show that most of these older hardwired agents, they don't even give a shit about that. They start tuning out the minute he starts babbling on.
We've lifted the mask from evil and are peering into the very mind of the criminal. Our little unit thanks you, sir.
You feel a little bit of sadness for him.
A little college education, some experience on the streets, some insight, a lot of horse shit.
He's probably the smartest one of the bunch. He has real insight. He's pretty much developed this whole program. These are all his theories, and they will go on to pretty much dictate how these kind of interviews and things take place in the future. So he's setting precedent, but nobody even realizes it.
Is all of that fresh-scrubbed earnestness just an act, or are you truly oblivious to the wreckage you leave in your wake?
So you as an audience get to watch Holden pretty much bring the FBI up to the 21st century, and nobody even fucking acts like they care or they want to hear what he has to say. So you're always feeling a little bit...
Next time you're a long way from home and you flip your shit, you find a payphone and you tell it to your girlfriend. Okay?
Okay.
How's that sound?
It sounds okay, Bill.
Damn it! On the edge of your seat throughout it. You know, you got Tench over here who's growing as a person himself because of Holden and the relationship they have.
We're trying to save women from getting pulled into vans and cut to pieces, not crucify some school marm who hasn't done anything.
Yet.
And then we got Dr. Carr.
I feel like I would be better if I was wearing the proper footwear.
I don't really mind her, I guess. I think she's pretty interesting. I really don't care that she's a lesbian. I don't hate it and I don't love it. Anytime there's personal relationships in a show like this, like even Holden and his girlfriend.
What are you reading?
it just starts to bog down, and I find myself not caring. I honestly skipped through quite a few of them. Just,
What about you? 28, but who's counting?
you know what you came to this show for. You came to this show to see the murderers, okay? So let's talk about them. First up,
You know, there's a lot more like me.
I know I'm not alone in saying that Ed Kemper is probably the best thing about the show.
Do you think so?
Whoever the hell you are playing him, I don't even want to look it up, man, because like I don't want to know anything about you. Like, you were Ed Kemper, and that's fucked up, I know, because it sounds like now I'm fascinated by the guy, and I'm trying to, like when Holden has his little panic attack at the end, and Dr. Carr explains, I think in the second season, how
When we empathize with the psychopaths, we actually negate the self.
and it fucked up his whole persona of right and wrong for a minute, and he was lost in it.
We deny our own beliefs about decency and humanity.
I don't think I'm at that point, you know what I mean? I know what the dude did was wrong. I'm just saying, dude, whoever you are playing Ed Kemper, you're fucking amazing. Like, I love your voice, I love your style, I love your personality. So after Kemper comes in, all you can do is wonder, okay, all these other murderers, are they gonna do as good as a job?
Fuck you in your fucking mouth.
Fuck you in the neck.
And yeah, great. What's the dude's name? Brados? Jerry Brados? Betos? I don't know. That guy was fascinating.
Why would friends send you shoes?
The little punk kid who
Name's Junior, Mr. Henley. Don't call me Elmer Wayne or Elmer or Wayne. Don't call me that, ever.
the guy who's bringing him the kids for him to do whatever the hell he did to them, whatever, that kid was good.
Because my truth is simple.
Manson, especially.
Was it now it's my fault?
The guy who played Manson.
These people you call a family, they're just children that you didn't want. You threw them out like trash.
I didn't look into this. Maybe they studied video of them. I'm sure there's plenty of it out there. You know, but either way, all these guys are really great actors, and this is what makes this show so enjoyable. It's not just watching the murderers and seeing them.
You never know when it might come together.
It's the actual building of a relationship with them.
I've had more insights into my behavior, which I'd like to share with you at your earliest convenience. Warmest regards, Ed Kemper.
You're seeing the FBI, you're seeing criminal psychology come to fruition, and understanding that, you know, there actually was a time where people didn't even think about these people as people.
He's not some frenzied thrill killer, Bill. I think we need to face that.
He chopped off women's heads and had sex with their corpses. If that's not frenzied, I don't know what the hell is.
But they are people, and there's so much that we learned from it that has been invaluable to law enforcement ever since. I just can't find myself wanting to turn this show off even when it gets boring. I just want to skip through the boring parts to get back to what I know is surely going to be some exciting action.
Well, if you know, you know. You don't need to talk to me.
Back to what I said earlier, though, the slump. Well, the personal relationships in the show kind of bogged down here or there, and the only one thus far I felt like I'm okay with, and I wasn't okay with at first, is Brian.
Brian?
You think he might just be an autistic child, you don't know what's going on with him. When Bill starts to interview with Manson,
This anger that you're feeling, Agent 10, this is just the anger that you got for you. Find someone else to put yourself on. I'm tired of being your goat.
And Manson starts pushing his buttons.
I'm tired of being your reflection.
You're not my reflection.
I've always been yours. I've been in your cell since I was 8 years old.
Putting that idea into his head that they all started off really young, and
These children that come at you with knives, they're your children.
They were your followers, Charlie. You gave them the knife.
You taught them. I didn't teach them.
they abandon their children. You know, you can just clearly see it.
You look like a composite of what someone told you you are. You live for other people's opinion. You got pain on your face.
He's thinking about Brian. He's processing all that, considering what you know Brian was involved in.
And you wonder if you look okay.
That's it. Bill.
How much and how deep, we really don't know. They haven't revealed that, but we know he was there with those two boys. A toddler was suffocated and placed on a cross. So, you know, Tench has a really good subplot.
You're trying to be in two places at once.
A dramatic subplot. Something that is balancing out.
And with everything going on with Brian, you can't keep this up.
Oh, we're the FBI and we're interviewing criminals. We're the behavioral science unit. There's a methodicalness to it. There's a science to this show. And that's fascinating and all that, but there does have to be that extra bit of drama in there. So what I'm saying is, when it's the relationship with Holden and hippie chick, got really boring. All they did was fuck all the time and then argue all the time. I guess it's like most relationships, but anyway.
I don't think he even tried to understand what I was saying. He just wanted some buzzwords that he could parrot.
Everybody's had a relationship. I've seen relationships in a billion shows. It's hard to make them interesting, okay? So that really is my point with Dr. Cars. I mean, I understand that it's supposed to be a big deal that she's a lesbian because this is like the 70s or 60s or 70s, whatever, you know what I mean? And it was a little more taboo back then, but
that is what I wanted to discuss.
You know, it's 2019 right now, so when I watch it, I don't feel any kind of like, ooh, you know, oh my God, she's a lesbian. I'm not invested. I don't care. Her first girlfriend was annoying and...
It's no secret. I find it difficult watching you waste your time down there.
Pompous as hell. This other chick she met at the bar, I shit you not, don't know anything they said or did. As soon as they came on screen, I just started skipping 10-second segments at a time until I got right the fuck on through it because I didn't care. I just want to see these damn murderers.
The question is not only why did the killer do it, but why did the killer do it this way?
So I guess that leads me to my final point. And like I said, in the middle of the slump of the first season where I watched a recap from Inverse because I was just trying to refresh myself really quickly since I'm so far into season 2. But yeah, somewhere around episode 5, they started getting more, okay, we're just gonna go interview this guy. And then they introduced that principal who was tickling kids' feet and all that.
They enjoy the contact.
Yes, but as you said to me when I was here before,
we are a community.
If parents don't want you touching their kids' feet, you should fucking stop. Simple as that. It does not matter what you think your wonderful new punishment into pleasure. Give them a nickel.
I am teaching happiness.
It has its place, but it was around there that I started to question, like, how is this gonna end? Or what are we building to? That's the ultimate question. What are we building to in this show?
We are now talking about psychology.
It's as if we don't know anymore what moves people to kill one another.
And I did not feel like we had anything left to build to. So luckily, when we got to the end, Kemper gets him in there.
I tried less dramatic methods.
Writing him his letters.
Did you get my cards?
Yes.
And he hugs and he empathizes, like I said. He has that panic attack.
You're developing a pattern of behavior that will not sustain you here.
But the price is gems. You seem to think you're mine.
Are we friends?
Blacks out, and the show just ends.
Torture, mutilation, that is your world, and it has made you paranoid.
I would have never guessed from the beginning onward that this was how we were going to end season 1, with Holden in a position of vulnerability.
Funny thing, in the ICU, there's no system to alert the guards.
Having not lost his confidence, but having it shattered and kind of, you know, messed about.
It's short-sighted, seeing what kind of people come through.
Realizing that he's not perfect. He's not a know-it-all. He doesn't know everything about these people, and that he could just as easily find himself a mental victim at the very least.
I could kill you now pretty easily. Do some interesting things before anyone showed up.
What I'm really trying to say is Mindhunter is a pretty damn good show.
Well, now, that is the truth.
Really great show. If you've considered it, let this be your tipping point. Definitely check out Mindhunter. It's fucking enjoyable. Just do not let the slowness of the first episode of season 1 or the middle of season 1 slow you down or make you think that it's not worth it, because it is. You're completely fine and free to skip through some of the boring shit. Use your own discretion to what you think is boring, which you won't miss nothing, I promise, but you will enjoy everything else. It's well worth your time.
How do we get ahead of crazy if we don't know how crazy thinks?